Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Birmingham. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are today, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Today we join with UUs all across the country in celebrating Earth Day with this special service sponsored by the Unitarian Universalist Ministry for the Earth. We have many guests from around the country, and I hope you'll enjoy this piece of our service today. For all who are here this morning, welcome home. If you'd like to be a part of our service this morning, we invite you to use the chat in YouTube to share your joys and concerns, share announcements for the good of the church, and all of those wonderful things happening. We have lots of adult enrichment opportunities coming up. We have a new small group forming that will be meeting on Wednesdays at 6 p.m., currently over Zoom. We also have a couple book discussions and things starting at the beginning of May. May 2nd, Marion Fintel will be discussing how science supports our need for meditation and relaxation. Marilyn Carrata is sponsoring another book discussion on May 6th, and I am starting an Enneagram workshop on May 2nd that will run on Sunday evenings for 4 consecutive weeks. And each of those different weeks, we will focus on a different aspect of the Enneagram, a personality tool that helps us learn more about ourselves and others. I hope you'll join us for any and all of these activities. You can sign up by going to our sign up page at bit.ly/capital UUCBS Spring. So it should say UUCB Spring. We hope you'll join us for these wonderful events. Our children's program continues to meet outside on Sundays from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. So if you have young children all the way through middle schoolers, we are having outdoor religious education right now. Next week, for April 25th, we will be joining together with UUs all across Alabama and North Florida for possibly one last time as we have our UU United service. So I hope you'll join us for this special event next week. Listen for the rest of this morning's announcements.
Hey everyone, I have a special announcement to make on behalf of the Flames of Harmony, our church's children's choir. We are so excited to be hosting the church's first ever virtual talent show. This year's talent show will be live streamed on Saturday, May 15th. We are asking that anyone who would like to attend the virtual talent show give a $5 donation. This money will directly impact the church and our future endeavors as we continue to navigate the challenges of a pandemic. We also want you to consider submitting a video for this year's talent show. All ages are eligible to participate, and we want to feature a wide variety of talents. Anything from singing to dancing, from acting to karate, from drag to ice skating. Anything goes. Please look on Facebook and our website for sign-up instructions coming soon.
prelude prepares us for worship.
This old world may be sleeping, but we have been dreaming of a brighter day. Some of us keeping our minds on the reason. Beautiful season is coming our way today. Could be the day. Hey, little flower, you got the power to push through green blankets. You're ready to grow. Hey there, sweet bluebird, tell me what you heard. I want to sing that great song that you know. Wake from your slumber and try to remember a time when we all were together as one. A new day is coming, yes, there will be sunshine. Wipe away teardrops, springtime will come. It's been so lonely, but that was only our chance to realize the love that we need. Come, take my hand now, let's make a plan how to stay wide awake. Let's fly you and me away. Wake from your slumber and try to remember a time when we all were together as one. A new day has come, tell me you feel the sun. Wipe away teardrops, springtime has come. I'm wide awake now.
Our chalice is a beacon of hope and justice in our world. We light our chalice this morning in honor of the birds, the bees, the flowers and the trees, the insects and the reptiles, the mammals and the fungi. Everything that makes our world a beautiful and interactive place. On this Earth Day, we invite you to light your chalice by spending time out in nature, however you do so, to recognize the interdependent web of life that we are all a part of. Let us light our chalices together.
Put out the fire, put out the fire, put out the fire. Our house is on fire. Put out the fire, put out the fire, put out the fire. Our house is on fire. We love you, we hear you, we commit to change our ways, not later, but sooner. On fire for our children. Put out the fire and their children. Put out the fire and their children. Put out the fire. Our house is on fire for songbirds, for clean air, for the oceans and the lakes. Not later, but sooner. Right now. fire. Let bees live, let trees grow. Let the snow fall where it may, not later, but sooner. Right now, for the future. Right now, for the future. Right now, we are here to put out the fire. This is how we put out the fire. Time is now, we put out the fire. Our house is on fire.
Our church is supported by those who call our church home and by those who support the efforts of our church to change the world for the better. We share our cash plate every Sunday with organizations whose work reflects UU values to care for marginalized persons, advocate for real and systemic change, defend our environment, and promote justice and equity for all. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Margins. Margins' goal is to uplift and strengthen Black women and their ability to parent. Margins aims to intervene in poverty-stricken family units and restore hope by providing practical support. This includes, but is not limited to, bill assistance, avenues for self-care, child care, activities for children and parents, and monetary help. During this time of social distancing and online worship, please know that church expenses continue. Therefore, we very much appreciate your continuing to pay your pledge or offer your donation by either mailing a check to the church office or by using PayPal or Venmo. Our Venmo account is at UUCBHAM. Please designate whether your offering is for UUCB or Margins. Thank you for your generous support of our church and our Share the Plate recipient. May we give in love and hope.
Our beloved community is one that we want to recognize and lift up all of the joys and sorrows within our community and in our greater world. This morning we have flowers on our altar to remember the anniversary of beloved member Chuck Jeffries, who passed away around this time last year. We will celebrate Chuck more on May 2nd, and also his family is planning a memorial this summer, so watch for more details there. But we lift up Chuck and remember his joy and humor and passion that he brought to our community. We also lift up Mark Long, who is recovering from a procedure this week, and we lift up Stella Tarrant, who is recovering from an illness. We hope that they continue to improve and feel better soon. As we look and consider how our hearts are affected by all that is around us, we continue to lift up all of those items in the news that are tugging at our heartstrings, all of those acts of justice and injustice, those moments of oppression, those moments of untimely violence that take the lives of innocent people every day. We lift up all of these moments, knowing that there are named moments from this past week, and that there will be more before I see you Sunday. And that all of these things are weighing on us. We have to acknowledge these things, hold ourselves tenderly, but also remember how important it is that we acknowledge these acts, that we say their names, and that we remember that it is important for us to be agents of change as we bend that arc toward justice. With all of the things on our hearts this morning, I invite you, using the chat feature in YouTube, by speaking it aloud, or by hearing it on your heart, please lift up what is on your heart today.
In the ancient way of the earth, the great cycles come and go, winter and spring, living to dying, to living again. Winter trees awakening, insects coming out of their long sleep in last year's leaves, hawks courting on the wing, making wild love in the spring sky. exuberant blooms reminding us that life comes back again and again from death and brokenness. In this time, at all times, may we remember, we are not the owners of this earth. We are not the stewards of this earth. For all our power to destroy, we are merely children, children of the great cycle, children of the ancient ways. May we find the humility to accept our true place, to lean down to the cold ground and kiss the soil, to lie on our backs in the green grass and let the earth hold us at last, as she has always held us, life after life, change after change. Earth made us who we are, bipedal mammals who speak and laugh, but also whose delusions of grandeur lead us to think that we matter more than we do. The earth is waiting for us to wake up. May the earth lead us back into right relationship with all her children, from centipedes to mountains. I call upon the earth herself to help heal us from our confusion and re-enter the sacred dance with outstretched hands.
This precious web of life on earth, inheritance of honor, has every blessing freely given to ya. It is a fragile, holy ground, a treasure to be handed down. Our overflowing hearts sing hallelujah. Will we be proud to pass along a healthy planet still so strong? Now we are here to bring that question to ya. Our faith is strong, we face the truth that life is changed. It's no more proof, the largest and the share of hallelujah. In innocence, or was it dream? We've taken far more than we need. Now consequences threaten to undo ya. For careless ways will pay the cost. The beauty of the earth is lost. Our broken hearts will sing hallelujah. Because
Hello, I'm the Reverend Elizabeth Mount, and I'm here to tell you about the sweet story of a honeybee. So on a bright and beautiful day in the land of might have been, where the land sings and the animals talk just as plain as you and me, a young honeybee was just waking up from their sleep. Now this honeybee was a drone. As you might know already, there are in a honeybee hive just one queen of the hive, several consorts of the queen, and many, many drones who are the workers of the hive. Well, this young drone, appropriately named Beatrice, had just grown up enough to take their first flight out of the hive to begin harvesting the nectar and the pollen that bees need in order to feed themselves and make honey to store for their winter food. Beatrice was so excited about their first flight and just buzzed off to begin gathering nectar, coming back as fast as they could fly with a full tiny basket of pollen and all the nectar it was possible to carry. Again and again, Beatrice zipped off to fill up and zoomed back like the tiniest little superhero, just swooshing and swishing through the air. By mid-afternoon, Beatrice was very tired from all of this zipping and zooming about, and not a little cranky, too. It had only been one day, but bees don't live very long. And, well, Beatrice was concerned at how small the pile of pollen was, how very little nectar she seemed to have gathered for the hive. Beatrice stopped to rest for a moment near an elder drone by the name of Abigail. One drop, and not even a big drop, Beatrice pouted. Yes, one small sweet drop, Abigail replied, but in a much different tone of voice. Yes, it looks small, and in your entire life, you'll probably gather no more than enough nectar for 1/12 of 1 teaspoon of honey. Then why even bother? Asked Beatrice. It doesn't seem like I make much of any difference at all. Well, said Abigail, if we all gave up, then what would happen? Well, I guess there wouldn't be any more honey or pollen, and then the queen would stop having babies, and the young would stop being fed, and the colony might die off. That's right, said Abigail. You only make a small bit of honey, but that small amount, and my small amount, and all of our drone comrades together, we make as much as 6 or 10 gallons of honey every year. So much that without tending from a beekeeper, we could fill up a hollow tree or a vacant hive, and we'd have to move on every couple of seasons. It turns out that everyone's small effort is the only way to sweet success for this hive and for all honeybees. Wow, said Beatrice. I guess I'd better get back to doing my part. Well, said Abigail, that's not quite right either. Rest for a moment and gather yourself. Make sure you're fed and well before you go back out there. You see, everyone's effort is necessary, but it also matters that you're well nourished and sustained and that you have fun. Don't just gather the pollen as fast as you can. Stop to smell the flowers too. You'll be happier, and the whole hive will benefit from it because you'll be part of a whole community that's healthy and well. Oh, said Beatrice, but don't we need to get as much honey as possible for the winter? Abigail paused a moment because this was a tender lesson to impart. The answer is yes and, really, said Abigail. The truth is that honeybees only live for a few weeks, and neither you nor I will perhaps ever see the winter time. But what we gather and how we choose to be in this time, that will leave a legacy for the future. And we'll teach the bees who come after us how to be a bee. And with that, Beatrice understood, and Bee and Abby shared a tiny cup of tea, sweetened with an even tinier drop of honey. And they watched the wind and the sunshine play over the flowers before going back to work, a bit wiser and better for their conversation. I hope this story makes you feel a little wiser and better and more ready to be a part of your community of resilience. Blessed be.
One, each person is worthwhile. Two, be kind in all you do. Three, we help each other learn. Four, and search for what is true. Five, all people get a vote. Six, build a just and peaceful world. Seven, we take care of the earth. That will bring us back to me and you too.
Today we have taken inspiration from Greta Thunberg, who is a young Swedish female autistic climate activist whose speech at the World Economic Forum in 2019 inspired the song by Emma's Revolution, Our House is on Fire. Here's an excerpt of Greta's speech. Our house is on fire. I'm here to say our house is on fire. We have to stop the emissions of greenhouse gases, and either we do that or we don't. You say that nothing in life is black or white, but that's a lie. A very dangerous lie. Because either we prevent 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming or we don't. Either we choose to go on as a civilization or we don't. That is as black or white as it gets. Greta is clear. She is practical. I respect it. Greta says we must shift nearly every aspect of society urgently to attempt survival as a species on this planet. But what is stopping us? As a minister that trusts and centers life, I ask what prevents reasonable and natural right action. This is the dilemma that we must resolve to address the core source of the environmental mess that colonization and really capitalism has whipped us into in just a matter of a couple centuries. We've been presented a cultural framework with binaries that failed. Like Greta says, and male and female are blood snippets of truth from a historical and scientific evidence that there is much more and is ever shaping and shifting. Day and night are short changes of the reality that dawn and dusk also exist. Yet Greta says there are some black and white truths. She says either we choose to go on as a civilization or we don't. Well, today, I present to you my black and white truth. This duality is at the core of not just the human experience, but what I often call the carbon experience. The network of life we belong to and cycle through. Like bees, part of a colony, our bodies are part of a larger organism, an organized system. Here it is. Either we center life or we're glitching. Here's the science behind it. The autonomic nervous system in vertebrates is the part of the nervous system that controls and regulates the internal organs without any conscious recognition or effort by the organism. The autonomic nervous system comprises of two antagonistic sets of nerves, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. The parasympathetic nervous system is the baseline state of life. This is the state of rest, ease, when the immune system is active, when digestion is processed and healing happens. The sympathetic nervous system is the need-based mode for survival. You've probably heard of it as fight, flight, freeze, and collapse. And it's when most of the organism's energy is targeted to survive. I call it a lunge for life. And frankly, it makes me pontificate. The poetry of organisms that are pre-programmed for life, preservation, and protection. And how it could have gone so wrong. Well, unlike wild plants and animals, humans have an uncanny ability to disrupt the completion of the sympathetic nervous system. And basically, we glitch. We get stuck in the sympathetic system as trauma isn't allowed to process and return to the parasympathetic. That energy becomes traffic jammed in our bodies, throwing off our reasoning, our processing, our perspective, our physiological regulating abilities. In short, rest and survival are the two systems that construct and sustain life. And so either we are centering life or we're glitching. If we desire to sustain life, if we desire to save our chance at inhabiting this planet, to defend all human Black bodies, Indigenous bodies, people of color, disabled, queer, women, trans bodies, if we desire justice and equity in our social order, we must restore these two systems in our bodies and in our cultures. Because our culture glamorizes hustle and busy and avoids rest. We believe excess isn't enough, and there isn't enough for everyone. We think that hoarding wealth and resources is just the name of the game, instead of ecosystem sabotage. We glorify monocrops and the erasure of biodiversity and nutrient density with our manicured, inedible monocrop lawns, with our gender preference for males and patriarchy, or the race glorification with white supremacy, or a bias for abled bodies and culturally attractive bodies with ableism and body shaming and fat phobia, and again and again and again, I can name the social effects of our house on fire, of trauma unaddressed, of nervous systems glitching in survival mode. Today and onwards, let us be clear in curating pathways to healing repressed energy. Because what we are doing outside of our bodies, we are also complicit within them. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm saying hurt bodies. That the repressed grief, anger, fear, shame, emotions, that energy in our bodies, just like those of our ancestors, will shape a world of repression, grief, anger, fear, shame, leading to inflammation and festering. We fuel a pressure cooker that, as the laws of physics demand, will be released one of two ways. One, by relief valve with intentionality and regulated and sustaining life. Or two, by force. It will burst out. This pressure cooker of repression inside ourselves mirrors what we have turned our atmosphere into, stuffed with greenhouse gases, heating us all up. It is outside as it is maintained inside. Our house is on fire, y'all, and the source is us. The diagnosis is clear. Hurt bodies, and our relationship to life as Homo sapiens still easily can skew towards self-sabotage. So we must build a lifestyle of healing, constantly bolstering our resilience and addressing emotions as they present themselves. This is our call. Leah Morris gave us the equation in their song titled Spring Thing, and in the chorus, Leah sings beautifully, "Wake up from your slumber, try to remember a time when we all were together as one. A new day has come. Tell me you feel the sun. Wipe away teardrops. Springtime has come. I'm wide awake now. Let us explore this chorus to identify our pathways to healing. First, Leah implores us to wake up from our slumber, just like Greta urges and Emma's Revolution sings. Our house is on fire. But how is the question? Well, each of these guided invitations that follow are experiences, and I'll break them down. Please make note in your body how you feel and what comes up. Make note what pings true in your bones and what your body asks for to continue healing. First, Leah invites us to try to remember a time when we all were together as one. Y'all, I want to start with the basis that the earth is not exotic, it's not foreign. The earth isn't even really outside or other from ourselves. It isn't a gift to us or something we must rile up abstract empathy for as a separate object. We are the Black Earth itself. This is the roots of my community ministry for and by Black millennials and Gen Zers, to describe and support an ecosystem of spiritual wellness and to center life. Though we are not only our bodies unite us with all carbon in a shared experience of returning to healing and wholeness, with other human bodies, animal bodies, plants and soil bodies. And if at the core of your cosmology you lack clarity of our oneness in a real and tangible way, let me read you this excerpt from a book I've recently read. Once upon a time, there was a universe. We're not sure about how it started or whether there is a reason, but we are pretty sure that during the first sliver of a trillionth of a second, it expanded very rapidly, so that for the most part, it looked the same in every direction and looked the same from every position. It was sameness everywhere, except that particles started to blip out of nothing due to random fluctuations caused by quantum effects. Maybe in space-time, we're still not sure about that. Then again, we're not super sure about this either, but for some reason, those particles formed more matter than antimatter. That process started to form structures, and from those structures, stars formed. Then the stars got old. Some of them died in super epic, rather fabulous fashion, and they exploded into supernova, making heavy elements like carbon and oxygen in the process. Those elements went on to be the basis for all life on Earth. Neil deGrasse Tyson quite beautifully says, "We are stardust brought to life by the universe so that the universe can figure itself out." Try and remember a time when we all were together as one, and do this often, my loves. Leah goes on, "A new day has come." Octavia Butler has rooted the ultimate truth of change throughout her Parable of the Sower series, where protagonist Lauren Olamina observes and explains a theology resilient and relevant in a chaotic and tragedy-filled society. Let's meditate on it. All that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. When you feel stiff-necked, when your mind is narrowed and limited in possibilities, when you are stuck in survival and need to disrupt the pattern of pain, remember, the lasting truth is change. We consciously and unconsciously shape change, and change consciously and unconsciously shapes us. Whether for the better or worse, change is promised in the forecast. A new day comes. So now, what can we do with it? When Leah sings, "Tell me you feel the sun," I hear them asking us to remember in the midst of change, in our bodies, the shared blessing of pleasure. That ease and rest, the liminal space where we heal and restore our souls. So let me tell you a memory I revisit often to tap my body into ease and the parasympathetic. A few years ago, I visited friends in Trinidad, and one day we were hiking and searching out waterfalls in a lush, dense, and vibrant forest. I left my shoes in the car, and walking barefoot in a jungle brought me more present, humble. We climbed over trees and crawled under branches. We walked alongside and in the river, sometimes laughing, sometimes silent. When we got to the waterfall, I gazed at the top hundreds of feet above us. I swam out and sat under the falls, and hundreds of gallons of water shook my body and cleared my mind. I slipped back into the pool, crafted by nature, filled with the crashing water, and followed my body's instinct to float on my back. In moments that felt like forever, with my ears under the water, I could hear the waterfall churning, my heart beating, engulfed in life, vibrant and pounding, and I felt ecstatically connected. My eyes looked up at the tree canopy with slivers of sunlight dancing through. I felt in that moment I was in a familiar dream. I was not my body. I couldn't feel where I ended and the water, the wind, the sky, the trees began. It was connection, peace, and fullness. So much I didn't notice warm salt water leave my eyes and join the overflow all around me. Beloveds, to one another and most importantly to your body, tell them when and how you feel the sun. Revisit it. Draw from this embodied well that needn't run dry. Next, Leah reminds us to wipe away teardrops. I hear in the harmony and lyrics the imperative to process our trauma. I'm not asking if you've exposed your nervous system to tragedy porn regularly, or if you slump under the weight of existential terror and anxiety with your friends. I'm not asking us to attempt centering life via shame or fear. When I ask, have you wiped your tears? I'm asking, have you explored self-sabotage trauma responses in you? It may very well be overwhelm or shame or terror. Have you sat with love and curiosity for your frenzy? Have you listened to the anxiety behind your desperation to flee? Have you ritualized and strengthened with practice your tolerance and skills for managing discomfort, even though you've learned to deny and avoid conflict like a pro? Have you sat with your anger until it revealed fear or sadness? Then, have you stayed as your body, your carbon-made, life pre-programmed body, witnessed as it processed the obstacles to wholeness and digested stuck and festering emotions? Have you gathered the wisdom from your bones and made an altar for them? Have you been with the pain human society has feared facing for centuries and survived, returning with the sureness that life returns to life? Woe ya ya. Have you wiped teardrops, beloved? If not, make haste in building a lifestyle of healing so you can install a pressure valve in your body, not only for this accumulated and the upcoming traumas that you will experience in your life, but also for all that is stored and eager for release from your ancestors who forgot or were obstructed from the way to healing. This is our teleological imperative, first to flourish, and second to heal any obstacle to flourishing. Finally, Leah sings, "Springtime has come, I'm wide awake now." In short, rinse and repeat. This is a lifestyle of remembering and returning, of processing and acknowledging. It is the motion from rest to survival and back again that we access the fullness of our life force energy. We are awake and able to put out the fire. So remember our oneness and the inevitability of change. Soak your body regularly in organic and earnest pleasure and rest. Make spiritual the lifestyle of healing. Then repeat, beloveds. Each one of us has the power to shape change and widen the pathways for healing for all life. May you remember you are beloved, and go forth and be love. May it be so.
We are going
All living substance, all substance of energy, being, and purpose are united and share the same destiny.
All people, those we love and those we know not of, are united and share the same destiny.
Birth to death, we share this unity with the sun, earth,
Our brothers and sisters, strangers.
flowers of the field, snowflakes, volcanoes, and moonbeams.
Birth, life, death, unknown, known, unknown.
Our destiny, from unknown to unknown.
May we have the faith to accept this mystery and build upon its everlasting truth. Amen. Amin. Akshay. Go in peace.